Before we start a new lesson, let's review. En este episodio, les enseñamos el resto de los meses con otras estrategias.
Los meses que ya aprendieron son enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo y junio.
El resto de los meses son julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre y diciembre.
As we showed you in a previous episode, standard academic Spanish does not use capital letters when writing the months.
One further note on septiembre. In some countries, the word is written with the letter P, as in septiembre. In other countries, the word is written without the P, as in septiembre. In that case, the P is not pronounced either.
Ahora vamos a usar más español. Escucha para comprender los meses.
Hola Jane, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Bastante bien. Oíme, ¿cuándo naciste?
Nací en octubre. ¿Y tú cuándo naciste?
Nací en noviembre.
¿Qué día?
El 25 de noviembre.
Nací yo el 3 de octubre. As you heard, we used en for the months, as in octubre, en noviembre. For the dates, we used el, as in el 3 de octubre, el 25 de noviembre.
Two strategies we taught you to remember the months are: one, to associate important dates in your life to the Spanish calendar, such as your birthday, a specific holiday, etc., and two, to look at the cognates of words similar to English. In the case of the months, all the months except January are transparent.
Here's what we know. 1. The first 6 months of the year are enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, and junio.
The last 6 months of the year are julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, and diciembre. Now that we've reviewed, let's start a new lesson.
Hola y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de Language Matters. Today we'll be speaking more Spanish with you, but we'll also use a lot of cognates, words similar in English and Spanish, to help you out. Hoy aprendemos las formas del verbo de la primera persona del singular.
En español es fácil. En el diccionario, la forma del verbo que se presenta es el infinitivo. El infinitivo no dice quién hace la acción ni cuándo se hace. Para empezar, miremos 3 verbos comunes en castellano: trabajar, comer y vivir.
Trabajar is to work. Cuando quieres decir I work, decimos yo trabajo. Es decir, cuando dices yo, también dices trabajo.
Es así para los otros verbos. Con comer, to eat, y vivir, to live, por ejemplo, decimos yo como y yo vivo. Otra vez, tenemos yo trabajo, yo como y yo vivo.
We used a lot of Spanish today, so we'll review a bit of the material in English. The word you look up in the dictionary is called the infinitive, and it ends in one of 3 ways in Spanish: AR, ER, or IR. When you want to say that I is the subject of the sentence or who completed the action, take off that AR, ER, or IR ending and substitute an O.
Se puede usar el ritmo para las formas. Por ejemplo, se puede decir la forma del yo termina en la O. Repitamos. La forma del yo termina en la O.
Practiquemos con otros verbos. Mirar, to watch. Correr, to run. Escribir, to write.
In order to complete this activity, you need to understand the following information. Number 1, When we talk to somebody, the verb will end in either a or e. So for AR verbs, the questions do you watch, do you run, do you write will look like the following. Habla, corre, escribe. Number 2, if one is asked a question ending in a or e, as in our example, habla, corre, escribe, then yo is the answer with o as the ending.
Watch as Jose and I model some of the language for you. ¿Habla usted español?
Sí, yo hablo español.
¿Corre usted por el parque?
No, no corro por el parque.
¿Escribe usted cartas?
Sí, yo escribo cartas.
So, if you look up a word in the dictionary, it will be in the infinitive form. To talk about yourself, what I am doing, substitute an O for the AR, ER, and IR endings.
Es todo por hoy. Nos vemos la próxima vez en Language Matters.
I'm Corporal Gamble with the Anne Arundel County Police. In regards to school safety, there are certain items that are not allowed in school. Weapons, anything that can be construed as a weapon, cannot be brought to school. Things like switchblades, knives, anything with a sharp point, fingernail files, guns of any sort cannot be brought to school. Also, illegal drugs, prescription drugs, unless they are issued by the health room, cannot be brought to school. Tobacco products of any sort, alcohol, anything of that nature is not something that you can have in school.
Hola y bienvenidos a otro episodio de Language Matters. In a previous episode, we taught you about the days of the week.
Hoy les enseñamos los 6 primeros meses del año.
Let's look at the first 6 months of the year. Let's read them together. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio. In a standard academic Spanish, the months of the year are not capitalized.
One of the strategies you can use while learning Spanish is to connect English to Spanish. In most cases, if a word looks like English and Spanish, chances are the words mean the same in both languages. In the case of the first 6 months of the year, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, and junio are all transparent cognates, and you could guess their meaning easily. The origin of enero refers to Janus, the Roman two-headed god. He looked back at the old year and looked ahead to the new one.
Vamos a ver un poco de los meses en contexto. Apareja la actividad con el mes. En enero celebramos el Año Nuevo. ¿Qué celebramos en febrero? ¿El Día de los Enamorados? ¿La Navidad? Sí, celebramos el Día de los Enamorados el 14 de febrero. ¿Y en mayo qué celebramos? ¿El Día de las Madres o el Día de los Padres? Sí, el Día de las Madres.
Otra estrategia tiene que ver con una conexión visual. A ver, dígame el mes que corresponda. ¿Es enero o es junio? ¿Es febrero o es mayo? ¿Es enero o es abril?
One last way to learn the months is to personalize the information. For example, pretend that you were born in one of the months we taught you today. A typical question is, ¿Cuándo naciste? The equivalent of, when were you born? The answer would be, nací. Watch as Jose and I model the dialogue.
Hola, Jen.
Hola, Jose.
Oíme, ¿cuándo naciste?
Nací en marzo. ¿Y vos?
Nací en junio,
¿Qué día?
el 10 de junio.
As you can see, we use en for telling the month, but el for the specific day. So we say en enero, en febrero, but el 2 de febrero, el 20 de abril, el 5 de mayo.
By the way, El 5 de Mayo celebrates one town's victory over the French forces occupying Mexico. It is celebrated in Puebla, the town of origin, but it is not Mexico's Independence Day. Americans tend to celebrate that day as if it were a national holiday. It is not.
To sum up, we taught you the first 6 months of the year and a bit about how to use it. Watch for an upcoming episode for the last 6 months and more opportunities to learn Spanish.
Sigan hablando, estudiando y practicando el español. Adiós de Language Matters y nos vemos la próxima vez.
Hi, I'm Wiley Baker. Sports abound here in Anne Arundel County. Join me for another edition of Athletes in Action later today, right here on AACPS TV.
Hola y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de Language Matters. In a previous episode, we taught you how to talk about yourself using the yo and usted form of verbs. Today, we'll review both forms of verbs useful for communication.
Here's a rule of thumb. Las formas del yo terminan en la O. El infinitivo termina en AR, ER o IR. Es la forma del diccionario. Hablar. Yo hablo. Comer. Yo como. Vivir. Yo vivo.
Let's go over some of that. Yo hablo, yo como, yo vivo. If you're looking up a word in the dictionary, it will likely be in the infinitive form. An infinitive doesn't tell you who does an action and when that action is done.
Otra vez. Yo hablo. Yo como. Yo vivo. These verbs are the equivalents of I speak, I eat, and I live.
To speak to someone in Spanish, we use the usted form of the verb. You may recall that usted is used to express a situation in which you talk to someone in a formal way.
One of the strategies you can use while learning Spanish is to connect the yo form to the usted form. We know that most yo forms end in o. For usted, the forms end in either of one of two ways. A for verbs in the AR category, or E for verbs in the ER and IR category.
For right now, we'll stick to our three verbs, hablar, comer, and vivir, to speak, to eat, and to live.
Las formas con usted son usted habla, usted come, usted vive. Remember that when you look at the dictionary form of the verb, you find that they end in AR, ER, or IR. So, you can substitute the A or the E for these endings, and you will find the usted forms.
Let's take a quiz on the run. Look at the two verbs and say out loud the forms for both yo and usted. Yo, usted, hablar, comer.
If you guess for hablar, yo hablo, usted habla, you're right.
For comer, if you guessed yo como, usted come, you're also correct. Bueno, es todo por hoy. Sigan hablando y estudiando el español.
I'm Corporal Gamble with the Anne Arundel County Police. In regards to school safety and security, violence is not tolerated in schools. If you're having an issue with another student, I implore you to come down and speak to administrators and responsible adults and give them the opportunity to hash out your differences safely. Because if you don't, you could be placed under arrest and you could be riding with me to the station.